I'm your host, Annie Bowles, and this is News du Jour. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the News du Jour. So today is March 24th, a sad day as it marks exactly 1 month since the start of this war in Ukraine on February 24th. And what's sad is that this has been going on for a month now, and we don't seem to have any more answers than we did when it first started on how this whole thing is going to play out and where it will eventually end. We do have some Ukraine updates for you guys later on in the episode, but first off today, we have to discuss Madeleine Albright, who just passed away amid one of the biggest international moments in U.S. history. So we got word yesterday afternoon that the revered first female Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright, has passed away at the age of 84. I need to acknowledge first my little from my sorority, who has worked alongside Secretary Albright for about 8 or 9 years, traveling with and learning from her all around the world. I'm thinking of you, Liza, and anyone else who was close with her. She died of cancer, surrounded by friends and family. She was a friend, a grandmother, a sister, an aunt, and a mother. Of twins, actually. Twin girls. She came to the U.S. as a refugee in 1948 from what was then called Czechoslovakia, and eventually came to lead American foreign policy as the Secretary of State under Clinton from 1997 to 2001. She eventually won the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2012. At the end of her life, at the time of her death, she was a professor at Georgetown and a chair on at least 4 different prominent boards, such as the U.S. Defense Policy Board and the National Democratic Institute. She was fluent in English, Czech, Polish, French, and Russian. For a lot of her life, her true family origin was actually hidden from her. She was raised Roman Catholic, but eventually discovered that her family had been Jewish, but converted in order to protect themselves during the onset of World War II. At that time, she discovered also that 26 family members of hers, including 3 grandparents, had been murdered in the Holocaust. Once living in America, Madeleine married into a newspaper family where she began writing on public affairs. She then slowly climbed the ranks of the Democratic Party and began counseling presidents such as Jimmy Carter and several presidential candidates like Bill Clinton. She was kind of a behind-the-scenes figure or character in the Democratic Party until she was asked to become Secretary of State by President Clinton in his second term. She was confirmed unanimously. But it's important to note that she butt heads a lot with President Clinton, specifically over the Rwandan genocide and the Bosnian Civil War. Losing her now feels utterly ironic, as during her time as Secretary of State, she advocated for the expansion of NATO to former Soviet countries, which is what this entire conflict in Ukraine seems to be about. Her level-headed, direct diplomacy could have been so useful at a time like this. It was just 2 weeks ago that we shared an op-ed about her, or by her, about Ukraine on our social media, thinking that we had years left of her wise words to guide us. And yet, here we are today without her. And dare I say, the world is worse for it. I hope you're at peace, Madeleine. You deserve it. So next up for today, we do have a couple quick updates for you guys on Ukraine. First up, NATO, sanctions, Poland, and more troops. So we have heard rumblings that on the menu for the NATO meetings are likely more sanctions that will, of course, be coordinated with our NATO allies, as well as increased U.S. troops in NATO nations. It was also announced that Biden will be visiting Poland following these meetings in Brussels. And to be honest, that is a little scary as Poland is right on the edge of the war. And on top of all of this, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki has announced that she actually has COVID and will not be traveling to Brussels with the president. So there's a lot going on, y'all, to put it lightly. At the time I'm writing this, we just heard that Biden had touched down safely in Brussels, but not much more than that. We will definitely keep you guys posted on the outcome of these very important meetings. And next up, a Russian Nobel Prize winner will auction it off for Ukraine. So a Russian journalist by the name of Dmitry Muratov won last year's Nobel Peace Prize. And he said that he will be auctioning off that medal in order to raise funds for Ukraine. Ironically, this Russian man won the prize for his, quote, efforts to safeguard freedom of expression, end quote. So sad, given the state of journalism in Russia today. He said that he would be donating these funds raised to the Foundation of Assistance to the Ukrainian Refugees. The paper that he helped found has actually been very critical of the Russian government since it was first created. So next up for today, a tornado in NOLA. Sometimes I feel like New Orleans is a little cursed, y'all. Natural disaster after natural disaster. And they have now weathered a tornado as well. At least one person in New Orleans has been killed since a tornado touched down in the city. It also displaced homes, knocked out power, and led to many searches for trapped citizens all around the city. Homes are still missing, you guys. You know, when a tornado picks up a whole house, it can drop it in someplace random. One was actually found dropped right in the middle of the street. But fortunately, the people of New Orleans know how to support one another in a crisis, and they have all sprung into action. Neighbors helped one another get to hospitals, clear tree branches, and share generators. The same storm system that caused this tornado actually created some tornadoes in Texas as well, but it does not seem that they were nearly as destructive as the one in New Orleans. The storm also affected southern Alabama. We are no stranger to tornadoes here in Oklahoma, y'all, so our hearts go out to NOLA. Stay strong. And that is the news du jour. Today, I wanted to leave you guys with the quote, "What people have the capacity to choose, they also have the ability to change." And that, of course, is by Madeleine Albright. May she rest in peace. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider becoming a patron of our podcast. For $7.99 a month, you can unlock tons of perks like breaking news text messages so that you're never out of the loop. Tons of bonus episodes are already up there ready for you to binge, and a discussion board full of networking opportunities and much more. Go to www.patreon.com/sugarfree media today to become a patron. This is the best way to support our show. Our patrons make News du Jour possible. But a couple other ways to support our podcast are rate and review on whatever podcast platform you use to listen, share on your social media, you have influence, tell your friends, family, and colleagues that you love News du Jour and why you listen. You can also follow us on social media under sugarfreemedia.co on Instagram, just sugarfreemedia, all one word, on TikTok, and sugarfree_media on Twitter. We also have a weekend newsletter called Dreamers Digest that's full of dreamy content recommendations for your weekend and a life update from yours truly. Sign up today on our website, www.sugarfreemedia.co. Our music is by Joey Lavoie and Nicholas Foster. Our cover art is by Hannah Pierce Photography. Our Sugar Free Media logo is by Catherine Jezik Designs. Any twinkling or little footsteps you might hear in the background are by my dog, Rhett. He's a rescue pup and always records with me. We appreciate you listening and look forward to telling you about the news again next time on News du Jour.
Broadcasting from Oklahoma.